Okay, third part in this series, I am going to attack the nodule. Alright, so nodule of Georgetown flint, right? But this one is not as chalky as some Georgetown flints. This appears to be more like a limestone. So it's probably Georgetown on the tougher side, which is okay. A lot of times it's stronger in length, right, than the really fine grade stuff. Okay, so a lot of people don't like this method, but this is the way I do it. I don't nap these nodules on my lap on a pad. I have them on the ground usually, and I'm looking around for something I forgot. I usually have an extra piece of drop cloth or a towel. Oh, normally it would just be the soft ground that I would be using to cushion the blows, but in this case, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. This is a wooden deck with the drop cloth over it. Okay, so another thing that people don't like is I'm going to use a steel hammer. I just had a conversation with someone who thinks, why even nap if you're not going to nap with natural tools? Why explore a technology that's ancient with modern tools? Why do it? Doesn't seem like it should be done. Well, that's actually a pretty good question, right? Because the answer is not as simple as you might think. I could just say, because I feel like it, but it's more than that. My reasoning is because I do it for the skill and to gain knowledge. All right, let's say that I would just do nothing but natural material napping. Nothing but that. Someone asked me, can I use a hammer? Can I use a hammer? Well, what's my response? Should I say, why would you even use a hammer? We're using ancient technologies. Just use ancient tools. Can I use a hammer? They'll ask somebody else, right? Or they'll just keep asking. Eventually, maybe you, in the hopes that you eventually will switch out of the natural tools because of frustration like I did, right? Yeah. It's not the tools. It's not the tools. This technology is not the tools. The technology is in the flaking. How to produce the flakes. If you understand the dynamics on how to produce the flakes, you can use almost anything. Alrighty? Maybe I should get more into that. It's too far away from the camera. Maybe I should get more into ways and aspects of various flint nappings and techniques. What's the advantage of one over the other? Is there any advantage to steel other than low tool maintenance? Oh yes, there are other advantages to steel other than low tool maintenance. That's a big one for me. Low tool maintenance. Another advantage of steel is the expense. So cheap. And it's free. Sometimes, I think I got this ball peen hammer for free and just cut it down. You can find these at pawn shops and secondhand stores. And if it's a good one, like if it's a legitimate pawn shop, they won't have these for very much. Thrift stores also. I am going to use something other than the floor. Now, why would I use a hammer when I know it's going to do stuff like this, like break apart? Well, that's not a good area anyway. See that existing crack in this? So my excuse is it's going to break anyway. Now, do I have hammer stones? Yep, Why don't I use them? Hammerstones do the same thing. You don't think a hammerstone produces incipient cracks? Not the soft ones. Okay, wise guy. They do. Even the soft hammerstones produce incipient cracks. Maybe not as much, but they do. But steel produces a lot more. Because this really cool guy on the internet said so. And coolness, you know, talking like you're cool means a lot. Yep, very credible. I mean, talking like Sergeant Crabhead. Sergeant Crabhead says that knapping with steel produces too many incipient cracks and weaknesses and other things in the stone. Shocks it too much. Yes, Sergeant Crabhead. Yeah. I could say another word, because there's another name for people who talk like drill sergeants on the internet. But I won't say it. And it's not troll, because trolls are just usually mentally... oh gosh, I shouldn't say that either. They're just nutballs. The trolls are usually just nutballs. Can't help themselves. Alright. Just crazy nutballs. What's a nutball? Well, you guys that are chefs and stuff, there's such a thing as a nutball in the culinary arts. It's not that. A nutball is someone who is not thinking rationally. Yep. It's usually a result of immaturity. A lot of these people on the internet are 12 years old or younger, commenting on adult topics. And you're going, what is this person thinking? And that's not their fault. They're just 12 years old. Now, sometimes they are adults with 12-year-old minds, and that's when we start getting into the nutball territory. But anyway, I use steel and aluminum and all that because it's in the flaking. The flaking is the technology. That's the technology. The flaking. The tools are secondary, although the tools can be extremely important. I'm not denying that tools are important. But once you understand the dynamics of the flaking and how the flakes come off and how to initiate them and how to prepare for them and how to deal with them later, you're understanding the technology, right? It doesn't do you any good to be unknowledgeable with the perfect tools, because you're not going to get the flint knapping done. You know, let's say we have a perfect toolkit in the archaeological record. The artifacts are complete. We have the projectile point finished, and we have every stage in between. We have quarry blanks that, you know, stuff like this comes out of quarries. This is not a quarry blank. Let's say this is a quarry nodule, comes out of the quarry. We also, let's say, for example, we have the quarry blanks or the bifaces. So instead of bringing this whole thing home, you just bring home some bifaces. We have trade blanks, we have preforms, and then we have broken in manufacture, and then we have finished points. And not only that, we have all the tools that the person used in the manufacture. It's all in one kit. Now, there are some archaeological sites that come close to that. So we think. The problem is sometimes these items are all together in a trash heap. So it's not in a context where it's the good stuff. It may just be discards, and we're just kind of assembling discards thinking that's the toolkit. Right? Could very well be. I'm not denying it. But it's not absolute proof. But let's say we do have absolute proof. And we give that to someone Can they produce the stuff they used to produce in the past? Of course not. Not without the knowledge of how it flakes, how the stuff flakes. All right, let's say they have the knowledge of how the stuff flakes. Okay. Can they produce the actual artifacts? Copies and exact replicas of the actual artifacts with the knowledge and the tools? No, they can't. Why? Because it's a different person. Not only is the person different, everyone's a little bit different, the evolution between 10,000 years ago and today has modified our brains. Now, some people, including myself, would think that that is not something that has benefited us. I think we have degraded ourselves, right? So that we are not as able to do this kind of stuff as we were in the past. Somehow we've dumbed ourselves down. It's not somehow. I have my ideas, but I won't get into that. But yeah, even if you have a guy with the right historical pedigree, we pull him out of the past and plop him down with all his right tools. But it's arbitrary. We don't know if it's actually the right guy. We don't know if it's actually the right tools. But we kind of assemble these things together. Okay, produce this thing. You have the knowledge. You have everything. Can he do it? Well, maybe, but maybe not, because there are techniques that are different. Same tools, but the techniques are different, and also there are biological differences in the ways people manipulate objects. Now, we're getting into some, I don't know, dicey ground there with biological differences in mental capacity. Today's researchers don't like to discuss mental capacities based on biological differences. Okay, that's one of the things that impedes our ability to do research these days, or to come up with hypotheses. We can't really say that, well, it could be a biological difference because of the way this looks between cultures. No. That will imply differences in intelligence based on biology, for example. Can't do that. Let's go down a different path. And that sort of thing. So, where am I going with all this? I'm not doing it for specifically for replication. I'm not doing it specifically to aid archaeologists. I'm not doing it specifically to forward a narrative of some sort. I'm not doing it specifically to make perfect points or anything else except the knowledge to be able to answer the questions and to come up with hunting points. Where's my hunting point? There it is. I just made this hunting point off camera. All right, see. Let me get off that topic because it's a little dicey. All right, so this particular point is 150 grains. I napped it out earlier. Golly, I can't see it. Come on. Can you see that? I can't see it through the viewfinder. Maybe you can see it. It's 150 grains when it's stabilized, when the little scale is stabilized. Okay, this is a typical weight for a broadhead on today's arrows, right? So I'm going to make a bunch of these. Probably not available for the auction. This is 2 3/8 long, or 60 millimeters, 6 centimeters, by 1 3/8, or 35 millimeter. Golly, I hate this. Focus! There. 1 3/8 by 2 3/8. Yep. By, oh gosh, let's see, 1/4 inch. Yeah, right at 1/4 inch. I think I'm trying to do this through the viewfinder. I want to be accurate here. I think that's 1/4 inch. Maybe a little less. Yeah, maybe a little less. 3/16. Anyway, that'll give you a 150 grain point in Georgetown. Why is it not notched? Because for me, if I want to use this for hunting, I just glue it on with epoxy. If I want to make it look primitive, I mix in some pigment, black or amber looking pigment. Why amber? Well, because many resins, when you boil it down or you let it dry, become amber in color. Like mesquite resin, which is one thing that they used to use. You can also boil down, or not boil down, but mix some sugar in water and then boil it, and then wait for a lot of the water to escape and wait for it to turn amber color, and you can use sugar to glue this on. Yes, I said sugar. You know, the kind of sugar that coats candy apples. You know how you make candy apples? If you do, that's the kind of sugar I'm talking about. You can also use hide glue. But back in the past, most of the time they were using some sort of resin or sap from trees. Mostly pinyon resin or pine resin or evergreen tree resin, because it's readily available, it's waterproof, it doesn't dissolve in water, and you can melt it down, mix it with some other ingredients. Although in the archaeological record, it's very rare to find resins that are mixed with other things, contrary to what you might think. They just use straight resin or straight asphaltum. They may have mixed some things in with it. May. Okay? Might. Until we have more data, most resins are used straight, as far as we can tell. Okay. So that's my little spiel on that one. Let's get back to this. The reason why I do it is for knowledge. I actually enjoy learning how to do this stuff and using other materials. I enjoy using stuff that other people go, no way, dude. No, I don't think so. Yes, I do think so. No, I don't think so. Yes, I do. It's part of being, annoying and confrontational. Okay, and if you guys want to troll me, I don't get depressed by that sort of stuff. All right, I don't want to. That's a secret. I don't want to let that out too much. So don't tell anyone. You want to troll me? I'll pretend that it's distressing. How's that? Okay. Anyway, I get more comments that way. It's very, very nice, and I appreciate all the nice compliments. But I also look at the other kinds of comments. But I don't do this steel hammer napping just to get trolled. No, I like it. In the field, if I'm looking for rocks out in the field somewhere, and I'm not saying literally in a field, but out in the boondocks or out in the wilderness or whatever, I'll bring a steel hammer. It blasts through anything, so that's why I use it. I could bring a hammerstone with me, but I've brought them with me and broken the hammerstone in the field, and I'm going, I just should have brought the hammer. Dang it. Now I got a nap with a stupid broken hammerstone. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe I should just offer this to someone as a nodule. They'll buy it like this. Well, I'll break it down. Let's see. How much time do I have? Another 10 minutes? Oh, this is not good. Not good. What happened there? There's some issues here in the core. All right, let's see. In the middle of this, the skinning flakes on the outside are going to be good. These are going to be sweet. The ones in the middle, probably not so much. That one's going to be sweet. The ones with the Cortex on them, nice. The ones in the middle, probably not, right? Can I heat treat those and make them better? Yeah, it's possible. Yes, indeed. It can be done. It does work sometimes. That's actually not bad. This material in here is nice. Now, am I using that funny Levallois technique? Not really, not on this one. Look at the difference in colors between the Georgetown. This is more of the dark color. This is more of a lighter. Let's see. This is from the interior of a Georgetown piece. But look at the difference. Georgetown comes in many grades and colors. I mean, I shouldn't say many, but there's distinct differences. So if I say to a new guy, yeah, Georgetown is good, I'm really not telling him the whole story. Because some Georgetown is good, some of it isn't, some of it he'll like and some of it he won't. These nodules differ between each other. Sometimes the nodules have no concrete, some have lots of concrete. The tendency is the thicker they are, the more concrete or more goofy stuff they'll have in the middle. But there's no guarantee that if you got a thin one that it's going to be good, right? Although statistically speaking, they usually are better if they're thinner. Yeah, these thicker ones also have these cracks that are existing. Can't do anything about those. Yeah, especially if they're surface finds. If you are lucky enough to find someone with a piece of property that has these sitting on the top, a lot of times they'll have these cracks, and it could be cracks from nature, you know, weathering, hot and cold cycles, or it could be farm equipment, which is man-made cracks. Bulldozers and sifters and separators. If they've got something like that to remove these nodules from the dirt. I don't know how that works exactly. If you got a quarry operation, sometimes blasting will send cracks into these if they're blasting out the limestone. You never know. This one is not turning out so well. And not because I'm doing this on purpose. This is really a difficult piece. Let's see. I would like to preserve as much of this one as I can. And work on these clunky ones. Let's see. I'll work on the clunky ones. I can use these, okay? So I don't throw away all of this, but a lot of this stuff I'm going to throw away. A lot of these clunky chunks like that. I might keep that one, but I don't know. It's got a bubble percussion that might be dicey. I'll probably chuck that one out. I might keep stuff like this. Throw that away. Maybe keep that one. Definitely keep something like that. I might be able to get a hunting point out of some of these. Maybe. If I'm lucky, I could get a hunting point out of that one. So I'll keep it. I don't separate my spalls into hunting spalls and regular spalls. Not yet anyway. Probably should. Am I going to hunt with these this year? Make videos of hunting? Well, first of all, I don't like hunting videos. Not because they're not cool, because they are. I just don't like hunting videos. Let's see. But I might make one. Yeah, I probably try to. I'll bring my camera with me. See what happens. All right, so here we go. So what am I going to do on the hunting videos? What kind? Well, I would like to do deer hunting, but Deer hunting is, I've tried it before with archery. I've never shot anything other than, let's see, I shot an armadillo and, what else did I shoot? I think I've shot rabbits with this is a long time ago. Yeah. I've shot at deer, but never hit a deer. So I worry about myself. The deer are too smart. They hear the arrow and they move. So let's see. I have not shot very much with bow and arrow. Not that I don't like using a bow and arrow. I do like using it, just not for hunting. I've done a lot of hunting. Well, not a lot. I've done most of my hunting with firearms, which I prefer. I definitely prefer firearms for hunting. Okay. Alright, so here we go. Let's see. If I do a hunting video, I'll have to practice up first. Get some success and get a system down, and then I'll video. I don't want the videoing to interfere with a clean shot. You know, I'm not going to sacrifice the animal's pain for a video. You know what I mean? Okay. Hey. Or how should I say that? I'm not going to submit the animal to more pain than necessary because I'm doing a video. If I get good at the clean shots, I'll continue hunting. If I get really good, I'll make a video. Okay. Continue hunting with archery. If I get clean shots. Good enough for clean shots. Okay. Alright, is this the best I can do? No, I can probably do a little bit better. But if you know me, I'm expedient. In case you're just tuning in, some of you guys tune in to the last video of the series. At the very end, you want to see the last part. What is the result of all this? What's the moral of the story? Well, the moral of the story is there's a lot of things affecting flint knapping. Philosophy, neuroscience, politics, mental health, physical health, statistics, logic. That reminds me, back in the day, like let's see, prior to 3-4 years ago, I used to think induction was a valid way of coming up with hypotheses or coming up with ideas or coming up with explanations on how some of the stuff was made or used. Induction means that you're doing a small experiment over here and getting some results and then extrapolating that to a larger sample. Like, this probably pertains to everything else instead of narrowing it down just to this one particular instance. That's deduction narrows it down, induction expands it. I used to think induction was a valid way of doing research or producing knowledge, I should say, and it's not really that good. It can be used, but you have to be mentally healthy to not fall into a trap of taking a little anecdote and expanding it out to everything, right? Yes, a little exception to a rule does cancel the rule, right? A little exception, and anecdotes do matter, but Really not when you're trying to do research on how these were done. Induction, there's this thing in philosophy called the problem with induction, and it's a serious problem. It is a problem. So I'm not going to do any more induction type of reasonings on my channel, or any type of knowledge explanations or whatever, or explanations that I pass off as knowledge using induction. I'm going to try to stay away from that. So I'll say things like, in a lot of cases, or a lot of times, or blah blah blah. That is statistically speaking. But I could be dealing with a sample that's pretty small, so it doesn't really mean it's true. Just because in most cases, blah blah blah, or a lot of times, blah blah blah. And don't take my word for things. Some people might say, well, who are you to say this kind of stuff? Who are you? Yeah, exactly. Who am I? I'm a nobody. That means you'll be skeptical, which is good. That's how you should be with everybody. It's actually an advantage not to be credible, because then you'll question it. And questioning it is how we get closer to the truth, because if we know what is not correct and keep track of what is not correct, we get closer, we step closer to the truth. The more we push away what's not correct, the closer we get to the truth. But we got to remember what's not correct. And the only way that happens is if it's documented. Right? There's objections that are in the record. There's examples and anecdotes that contradict the prevailing consensus or whatever. That advances us toward the truth. Okay. I said I was going to get my lamp, but I didn't. I'm having a hard time seeing. I'm glad that the viewfinder is, or the camera adapts to different light conditions. All right, a little bit more on this. Nope, I'm out of time. That's it for this one. Hope I didn't ramble on too much. All right.